Yo, yo, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at in the world. Freedom marchers, freedom family, freedom lovers, and freedom fighters. Snapzilla Gorilla in the building, hitting y'all with this live stream to discuss this very important development. Very important development that has just arose in regards to the Epstein situation. Regarding Epstein, the whole sex trafficking ring, and Donald Trump and the Trump administration. Fucking ridiculous. So, Kelvin Black, salute to you. Good morning. Shit is crazy, isn't it? Apparently, last week, I believe on Thursday, Ghislaine Maxwell, the accomplice in with the Epstein, drug sex trafficking ring situation, gave up some names to the Trump administration, to Trump's Department of Justice this past Thursday or Friday. Now, her lawyer said that she didn't really get anything in exchange for these names, but a little bit of immunity, right? Some level of immunity, but she's already serving a 20-year sentence. After she was convicted, she was sentenced to 20 years in prison. That's a very long time. So, and that was after she had already given up information regarding this case. She was very close with Epstein. She was basically his right hand girl, recruiting and finding, underage girls to service the nasty motherfuckers. Steph Brown, salute to you. Good morning. Ghislaine Maxwell was basically on the same level as Epstein in regards to her criminal behavior in this case. And she worked out a deal to get 20 years. 20 years in prison after she worked out a deal. And it's just based on the number of victims they claimed, the level of nasty, evil behavior that these people committed against these young girls and boys. So imagine how horrific this whole situation actually was. How much information Ghislaine Maxwell has in regards to the level of nasty behavior that she facilitated and that Epstein facilitated. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not sure exactly how many names she gave up in the first place, but apparently she gave up another 100 last week. Now, what was the purpose of giving up 100 more names? Andreas says that they gave me my third like. I appreciate that. Salute to you. Thank you for hitting the like button. Please hit the like button when you come through here. I greatly appreciate it. So, the Trump administration is under fire because of Donald Trump's association with Epstein, right? The perceived relationship with Epstein, and the fact that they have yet to release the Epstein files. Now, the Trump administration and Trump actually himself has claimed that there was no client list in the Epstein files. But we know that Ghislaine Maxwell gave up names. So what are we talking about? Donald Trump also said that the Democrats fabricated the Epstein files and fabricated this whole idea of the client list. That they created it, that it was on Russia hoax level bullshit. But Ghislaine Maxwell gave up names that belonged to the client list before she was convicted. So, was Ghislaine Maxwell fabricated by the Democrats? Was Ghislaine Maxwell, paid by the Democrats to take the fall and come up with this elaborate scheme to trick the government into placing her, the court system? Was that all part of the plan? To have Ghislaine Maxwell go to prison for 20 years just to implicate Trump? Okay. So if there's no client list, why did you go to Ghislaine Maxwell to have her give you more names? That's the question I have for the Trump administration, for the DOJ. Someone asked where I'm going. I'm going to the moon. I'm getting ready to go to the launch pad right now. Once I get there, I'm gonna go to the moon. Anyway, so think about that, right? You tell us that this whole thing is a Democratic hoax and all this bullshit, but you are pursuing more names from Ghislaine Maxwell. And apparently Ghislaine Maxwell had more names. Well, my question is, when she was giving up names in the first place, why not include those 100 names that she just gave up last Thursday when she was handling her case to begin with, before she was convicted, when she gave up those names to get the 20 years off? Just to get the 20 years. Why didn't she give those 100 names up then? Why give them up now? How many more names does she have? And why does the Trump administration, why does the Trump DOJ want those names now? Are they going to use those names as leverage to keep Trump out of the situation? I'm tired of the dog and pony show. I'm tired of the left-right paradigm bullshit. I'm tired of the kabuki theater. Right? I'm tired of this shit. MAGA is on Trump's head about releasing these Epstein files. This is a good step in the right direction. Because with these MAGA people demanding this, it shows, okay, they have a level of common sense. They have a level of human decency, right? Because we're talking about children. We are talking about children being predated by these nasty elite motherfuckers. That's what we're talking about at the end of the day. We're talking about children that were victims of Epstein and victims of Ghislaine Maxwell, and was sucked into a realm of evil. Okay? There are no two ways about it. This was pure evil, what was done to these poor girls and poor boys and whoever was involved. Anyone that has been drugged, anyone that has been forced to participate in the sexual deviancies of these elite class motherfuckers that think they're better than you. They think they're better than you. And they think they have the right to have access to children. They think they have that right. They think they deserve it because they have some type of elite bloodline, or they're millionaires and billionaires, because they're politicians, because You know, whatever reason, whatever gives them the impression that they can have whatever they want, regardless of who it hurts. This is what we're dealing with. It's what we're dealing with. So these 100 names, well, are they going to release those 100 names? Are they going to release those 100 names to the public? Is that why they got those 100 names from Ghislaine Maxwell? So that they can give them, so that the Donald Trump administration can release them to the public, to shut them up, to keep the monkey off their back? That's my question. My question is, are we finally going to get some answers? Because this is the hugest scandal in American history. It's bigger than Watergate. It's bigger than the JFK assassination. It's bigger than all that. Why? Black Spring with Autumn, salute to you. Good morning. Black Spring with Autumn, why don't you go ahead and drop your link? Bonjour. Imagine. This is the biggest scandal. Why is it the biggest scandal? Because it involves children. Period. Children's lives were destroyed. A lot of them were adults now, but they can never lead a normal life ever again. Black Spring with Autumn just dropped her link. You guys go check her out. If you want straightforward, unbiased news about what the government is doing, that it is born of great research, then go ahead and check out Black Spring with Autumn. No problem, Black Spring. Happy to do it. We're talking about children. We're talking about children who are innocent and impressionable. And yes, a lot of them aren't children now, and a lot of them were older children, teenagers, right? Late teens, mid-teens, low teens. Some of them younger than that. Some of them under the age of 10. It just depended on the taste of the nasty motherfucker that paid for these services. Now, when you're talking about children, you're talking about God's precious beings, right? So those of you who believe in God, those of you who believe in Christ or Allah, you know what happens when you mess with children, right? When you mess with children, you are the lowest of the low. Ghislaine Maxwell is one of those lowest of the low people. But she is privy to a lot of information. She's privy to a lot of the behaviors of the people that we look up to every day. We look up to these people. Pardon Diddy, somebody said. No, we're not pardoning anybody. I know you're trolling, but yeah, that's not what we're doing. Someone says guillotine a certain individual in the streets. Well, I'm not gonna say much about that. Sunshine out there sniping people. Salute to her. Salute to Queen Sunshine. Thank you for coming through. And salute to Queen Black Spring with Autumn for showing up. Two of my oldest mods. Sunshine been rocking with me for a little bit. She always in there making sure she's taking down the bots and the spammers. Salute to her. Much appreciated. Everybody needs a little sunshine in their life.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
But we're talking about these 100 names, and I'm like, well, when are they going to release these names? And what was the purpose? Well, the purpose, in my opinion, is to show that Donald Trump really cares about, because he downplayed it, right? Let's be honest. Donald Trump had very little interest in the Epstein files. He had very little interest in releasing the Epstein files. He put everything off on Pam Bondi. Oh, Pam Bondi is going to do what she feels is best, release whatever is important, whatever the case may be. And then they tell us that we find out that Donald Trump knew that his name was in the files back in May, even though he told the media, she didn't tell me my name was in there. That didn't happen. He lied to us. He lied to you. He lied to MAGA, right? He lied to everybody. But then they tell us, well, there's not enough information to lead to further prosecutions. What? Then what were the names in there for? What was Donald Trump's name in there for? Writing a Christmas card? His relationship with Epstein, which was supposed. How was the relationship with Epstein? Was it a important relationship? Was it superficial? What was it? See, we can only make that determination for ourselves if we have the information, right? Well, they don't want us to have the information. Let me tell you why. Because we'll discover that those so-called leaders, the so-called leaders of this nation, ain't shit. We'll discover that, and at some point in time, we'll realize, hey man, what do we need these people for? I mean, look at what they're doing. Look at their behavior. Look at what they'll do to obtain any level of power. Because, like I said last week, y'all, when I told y'all that Trump knew in May that he was on the list, and that's why Elon Musk put him on blast. Because he knew what Trump knew. And Elon Musk, that's just bad because he clearly had this information and only decided to release it when he was beefing with Trump. These people do the same shit. These people are Elon Musk is no better than Donald Trump. Exactly, the power. It's all about power. I told you guys, I told y'all about the history of people in positions of power. I told you guys how power is passed down. Power is not, see, you guys think, oh, well, we gained independence from the crown in the 1700s. And that, well, the founding fathers, they had nothing to do. They wanted nothing to do and had nothing to do with the crown anymore after that. Their blood was not linked to the crown. Their blood is linked to the crown. I told you guys about how kings, lords, dukes, earls, they all had bastards. They all had many bastards. Back then, the laws were different. The moral standing, the moral compass was different in regards to children. The whole idea was, well, if she can breed, she can bleed, right? That was the idea. And so thus, these kings, these earls, these highborn men, they would go around and they would use that. They would go around having children with children. It wasn't until a couple hundred years ago when they made laws about age of consent. They made laws about this is a fairly new thing, y'all. These people had their way with children. Parents would sell their children to these kings. They would betroth them to them, right? And it's not just peasants. Highborn children were sold and betrothed to old ass men. This was a common practice. Blacksburg Autumn said, and the representatives took a hike. Exactly. So this was common behavior. This is what people in power do. They are power hungry, and they will exercise that power in any way they see fit. And there is no limit. There is no limit. We're talking about 100 names. 100. You think those are 100 people like me and you? You think it's 100 proletariats on that list? The list would not be valuable if it were like people like me and you. No, these are people in power. The names that she gave up are 100 more people in positions of power or positions of elitism to a certain degree. Those 100 names are names of people that you would hunt down and delete if they did something to your children. Well, why does it have to be your children for you to be outraged? Where is the real outrage? Are the people really outraged about what Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein did? I remember back in the 80s. All right, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I lived in the whole decade of the 80s. I lived in the whole decade of the 90s. In the 90s, there was a man who took advantage of a boy, a teenage boy. He was some type of karate teacher or something like that. He was a karate teacher. I forgot his name. You guys know what I'm talking about. He was a karate teacher or some martial arts teacher. Took advantage of a young boy that he was training. And he was found out, right? He got placed under arrest. The young boy snitched on him, told on him like he rightfully should have. And the dude was placed under arrest and was flown somewhere. The father was waiting in the airport. He's waiting in the airport for this dude to land and for this piece of shit to be escorted through the airport by the marshals. He was lying in wait. He was waiting at a phone booth. And now this is being filmed on camera. And you could probably Google it and find it. So the father is waiting at the airport at an airport phone booth. I know you guys are wondering what a phone booth is. Well, it's what us old folks used to use back in the day when we didn't have cell phones and we were out of the house and we wanted to call somebody. We'd have to use what is known as a phone booth, right? Hardwired, you know, all that good stuff. Anyway, father's waiting at a phone booth. And when this nasty motherfucker walks by with police escort, he blows his fucking head off. Rightfully so. And he didn't go, and nothing happened to him, right? He was arrested, right? Of course, initially. But, you know, no one convicted the man, right? For what? He got just revenge against a piece of shit. I want you guys to understand this. They don't care, the justice system. They don't care to convict PDF files. They don't care to sentence those individuals to long football numbers. They don't want to do that. They'll go as low as to give a PDF file rapist 6 months probation. Yes, ball cap by a payphone. Yes, it wasn't. Yeah, you're right. Technically, it wasn't a phone booth. It was a payphone. It was a bench of payphones. So technically, it wasn't a phone booth. It was a payphone. Yes, you're right. I'll give you an example of how they really don't want to convict rapists in PDF files for very long, because many of those in charge of the justice system, many of those that are part of the legislative branch, the judicial branch, and the executive branch, they are themselves rapists in PDF files. And so when they get found out, they don't want to have to spend 25 years to life in prison or get executed. No. That's why the justice system is the way it is in regards to doing things to children. Now, the reason Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein got the sentences they got is because of the number of victims they had. The number of victims. Not because of the horrific things they did. No, it was the counts. They had so many counts that it built up. And Ghislaine Maxwell only got 20 years with all the victims that she had. I forgot. I forgot. I think Epstein got life, right? I think Epstein got life, if I'm not mistaken. But what happened the first time Epstein got convicted? He got 18 months in prison where he could come and go from the prison as he pleased. That's what happened the first time he got convicted. It was a miscarriage of justice. The reason he got that such a ridiculous, minuscule sentence is because, well, he was servicing the elites. He was servicing the elites, and they didn't think anybody would care. They didn't think it would be such a high-profile case because Epstein is not an entertainer. He's not a politician. He's not some high-profile individual publicly, right? He's just an elite class member that was providing a service for other elite class members who moved and shook and made things happen, right? God knows the level of depravity he provided and participated in with other folks in his same class. So, yeah, the first time, they didn't think anybody would care. Yeah, we'll give him 18 months. Yeah, some chick came out, you know, that was a kid when she was victimized by him and came out and did this, that, and the third, said this, that, and the third. Yeah, we'll just, we'll give him 18 months. No one's going to care. But somehow, the story blew up and people did care. And so it wasn't good enough, was it? No. All these other girls came out. All this evidence comes out. All these pictures, all these videos. This infamous or notorious client list that Epstein had became known. But now they're telling you there is no client list. But Ghislaine Maxwell gave 100 more names to add to the list. You see how shit don't add up? They're trying to drive confusion through you guys. Well, we can't be confused. We can't be confused. Because it doesn't matter how many victims there were. It doesn't matter. It matters to the victim because that victim has to deal with that for the rest of their lives. They have to go deal with the trauma. But for us to get justice, to bring justice to these nasty people, it could have been one child, right? It could have been one child that was victimized by these people. They all need to pay the same price. But they can't pay the price they should pay because, again, a guy named Kinsey, I don't know if you guys are familiar with him. He was some type of sexual researcher who had, in his mind, children that were being raped and PDF filed by grown men got off on it. They received pleasure in his mind because he was sick. And so what did he do? He urged the court system not to bring such harsh sentences to the PDF files and the rapist. Because in reality, due to his research, where he actually took grown men and had them do things to children, he, in his mind, the children enjoyed it. So that, guess what? This is what he's peddling, right? This is what he's peddling to the legislators and the politicians, to ease the punishment of those individuals caught doing things to children. Somebody tells me to give it a rest. Now, how about you tell the PDF files in the rapist to give it a rest? How about you call for them to be put to rest instead of telling me to give it a rest? No, I won't give it a rest. When it comes to the children, and you coming for children, I won't ever give it a rest. I'll always highlight it. I'll always talk about it. Alfred Kinsey, look him up. Shout out to Queen's Throne. She's done extensive research, and she's actually shown and basically did some documentaries about Kinsey and talked about how he influenced the court system to not, punish predators, child predators. But you want to come up in here and tell me to give it a rest. Maybe because you are feeling some level of guilt about your own desires. So you want me to give it a rest. There are 352 people watching. A lot of them might be bots. A lot of them might be trolls. But a certain percentage of y'all actually want to do things to children. You do. Kinsey, I think it's spelled K-E-N-Z-I-E, I believe. Yes, K-I-N-S-E-Y. Yes, Kinsey. Yes. Thanks to him and his research, the elite class, right? The power folks, the people in power, were more than happy to oblige to Kinsey's research because guess what? Oh yeah, you're right. We shouldn't give these people harsh sentences. They had to think about it, right? They had to think about it. Thanks to Kinsey's research, thanks to Kinsey's admonitions, and thanks to his begging and all this stuff, his campaign. He had a campaign to change the perception of PDF files. And now you have what they call FamLaw or whatever it is. I forgot what's the name of that. They tried to become part of the LMNOP community. These sick people that are attracted to children and want it to be normalized. See, they want to normalize pedophilia. You remember that show Cuties on Netflix? That bullshit? Remember that? Remember they tried to push that? And they had little girls twerking and doing these different things and wearing nasty clothes and all this shit. Well, because a black woman made the thing and tried to push it out there, they tried to minimize the nastiness of it. But it's not just that, right? They've been sexualizing children for years. They have been sexualizing children for years. Make no mistake, when you watch one of those shows where it's a show about teens and it talks about teenage angst and all this other stuff, like Euphoria. You know, the show that Drake produced. Remember that? Had all those children doing that shit. My wife was watching it. we watched the first episode together. I was so disgusted. I was so disgusted by that show. I could not watch any further episodes. I couldn't watch any further episodes. Because they had those children doing all kind of nasty shit, doing drugs. You had a little tranny boy. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is supposed to be about kids? You had a little fat teenage girl giving some dude a blowjob in the first episode. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Now, yes, are these grown people playing kids? Yes, of course. They were all grown, including the main star girl, Zendaya Booya, whatever her name is. The chick that's dating Spider-Man. Yeah, they're grown. They're 18 and older. But they're portraying children. They are portraying children. And this is what they put out there. They're portraying children, but they're giving blowjobs and doing drugs. And you got little tranny boys, and they're showing dick prints of tranny boys, of dudes that want to be women, that want to be girls. Like, what are we doing for real? This is what I saw in the first fucking episode. I'm like, how is this supposed to be enjoyable? Who is this enjoyable to? Well, guess what? Later on in the show, like I said, my wife is watching it. I don't know why. But she enjoys teenage angst stories. I don't get it. Later on, she's watching. I'm like, well, what the hell's going on now? That little tranny boy, the guy that plays, he's supposed to be 17, 16 years old. He's linking up with a grown ass man who was the coach at his high school or whatever. A grown ass man in his 50s or something like that, linking up with him at hotels, getting busy. And they try to get you to empathize with the grown-ass man. They try to make you feel bad for him, like, because he was going through shit or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, no, this motherfucking nasty. See, this is what they're doing when they do things like this. When they play those type of shows and movies, they want you to be okay with this behavior because they want to participate openly in the behavior. Like the Drakes and the producer. Drake was the producer. This is why Kendrick Lamar named one of his diss songs Euphoria and started talking about Drake's nasty little proclivities, alleged nasty proclivities. But we know how Drake gets down, right? He likes the young girls. He likes to text and send messages to teenage girls when he's in his 20s. What are we doing here? But everybody loves Drake, right? See, they're going to continue to do this until finally you're like, you know what? It's okay. We're going to go back to the Middle Ages. Right? This is what they want. They want us to go back to the Middle Ages, where it was okay for a 50, 60-year-old man to date a 14-year-old. This is how old these people were. 30s, 40s, 50s. It didn't matter how young the girl was, as long as she had things going on. They thought she was a grown woman because she started having cycles. Now, as nature would have it, cycles begin that female can have children. But does that mean they should start? No. See, they think, oh, well, the cycle starts, we can have our way with them. That's not what that means. That means that, well, you have to cycle through the eggs. Your body is shedding them. That's what that means. It doesn't mean it doesn't give you a green light to to try to do these things with children. That's not what that means. And even if that was some type of signal or indication, okay, she is at that age where things can happen. It doesn't mean that it should happen with grown ass men. Not all in the least bit. Not in the least bit. So let's say we were back in the days where, okay, well, lifespan was shorter, life expectancy was shorter. That's understood. That's a known thing. Okay, life expectancy was shorter. And it just in nature, that's how it works. Well, okay, so if you have a family and your daughter is starting to have these things going on, wouldn't it make more sense if her partner was around her age and not some grown ass filthy man, not some grown ass old ass man that would take advantage of your daughter? Wouldn't you want your daughter to start courting someone around her age? And that doesn't mean that they should go ahead and get it cracking. Ralph Perry, salute to you. He dropped the 99-cent super chat. I appreciate that. I appreciate all the super chats that you guys send. Doesn't matter how much it is. It is the gesture that counts, man. I appreciate it. But think about it. See, these old ass, grown ass, power hungry men, they thought, oh, well, look, she's going through this cycle. That means I can have my way with her. That's not what that means. That's not what that means at all. The fuck? And this was starting to be understood by the masses, by the proletariat class. So the proletariat class and the masses, they demanded that this behavior was not okay. They said, no, this shit ain't cool. And here we have it today where, you have ages of consent that are questionable in some states, right? Some states are 16, some states are 17, some states are 18. Some states, you can get permission from your parents. A child can get emancipated and they are technically adults. It depends on how you demonstrate your level of maturity and how you make choices in life. Because that's really what this is about, right? It's beyond the physical. It's beyond the physical because now it's not just the physical, right? It's the mental. It's the emotional. It's how you manipulate people, and you can cause mental trauma as well as physical trauma to these children. Right? You might think, oh, look at how mature that girl is. Blah, blah, blah. Y'all remember that movie, American Beauty? It came out when I was a kid. I don't think I was grown yet. I don't think I was 18 yet when American Beauty came out with Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey. Where he played this middle-aged man that was going through a midlife crisis and decided he wanted to work out and start doing smoke weed and all this shit. He was hanging out with a teenage boy that lived next door. Started hanging out with him, lifting weights with him. Well, his daughter had a friend who was, had a friend. And she came off as some type of seductress, right? She came off as some type of seductress, and for whatever reason, she was attracted to the Kevin Spacey's character, right? A grown-ass man. And she kept coming on to him and this and that and third. And first he's like, nah, man, that's crazy. But he's having fantasies about her. He's having fantasies and dreams and this and that. And it builds and builds and builds. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. But I'm a kid myself. I'm almost a grown-ass man. I'm like, what is this? Right? So she seduces him, and they set up a rendezvous. And They getting ready to get it cracking. And she's nervous now. She's acting all nervous and like, oh shoot, I don't know about this. He notices. He's like, what's wrong? What's going on? Now, she's coming off, even to his daughter, as some type of hoe, right? Like, she's done this, she's done that. She's acting like she done been through some things. You understand what I'm talking about? But in reality, she was still a virgin. She was a virgin. She hadn't really done anything with any boys. But for whatever reason, she wanted people to think that she had some experience. She had zero experience. And Kevin Spacey's character was about to be the first. And so he felt weird about that. I guess he came to his senses and didn't do it. But if she had experience and she had been with who she said she's been with, would he have done it anyway? This is a movie that came out in the 90s. In the 90s. And what did they make you feel? What did they try to make you feel for Kevin Spacey's character? Because his character, his wife was played by Annette Bening. And she was a bitch. And she was cheating on him with her boss. And they was meeting up at hotels and blah, blah, blah. And he decided to quit his job, or he got fired, and he was working at a burger shop. He was working at like a McDonald's. And she came through with him, with her affair, with her lover. And he's standing there at the drive-thru like, oh shit, okay, I see how you get down. Yes, American Beauty. So he had been going through some things. See, this is what they did. They built this character as a sympathetic character who was going through something, who was going through a midlife crisis, whose wife was a bitch. She was a grown-ass woman, of course. And treating him like shit. The world was treating him like shit. Everybody, you wanted to feel sorry for him. And what happened? He's having fantasies about a 17, 16-year-old girl who's his daughter's friend. And this whole time, the next door neighbor had the son that Kevin Spacey's character was hanging out with. He's underage. He's a minor. And they're smoking weed together, lifting weights. And the father believes that his son is getting it cracking with Kevin Spacey's character. Thinks his son is gay. Calls him F-words and all kind of stuff. But no, they wasn't doing nothing. They was just hanging out. He was his weed supplier. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah. The father, who was a veteran, thought that Kevin Spacey was a gay pedophile. Right? And he was basically a homophobe, for lack of a better term. And what ended up happening? He tried to get with Kevin Spacey's character. The father who thought his son was gay and getting with Kevin Spacey's character was like, okay, so then I got access to them. But Kevin Spacey's character wasn't gay. He wasn't gay. No, his boat didn't float that way. He got rejected. See, y'all need to watch that movie. If you haven't seen it, y'all need to watch it. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, I'm not going to spoil the ending for you. But at the end of the day, they built Kevin Spacey's character as a sympathetic character, as someone you could relate to, someone that you felt bad for because he was going through some shit. Right? And then he ends up trying to bang his daughter's friend. But you might think, oh man, I understand she's bad or whatever. No. Now, the girl was played by a grown woman, you know, that looked young, but nonetheless, this is the messaging, y'all. This is the messaging. The movie name is American Beauty. American Beauty. But that's the messaging. We're talking about, this is a movie that was created by the movie industry. The movie industry is ran by whom? What is Epstein? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Think about who really runs. Hold on, guys. Let me got the sun glaring in my face. Oh man, you can't find no good help these days, man. No good help. I got people not showing up to work and shit. What's wrong with this motherfucking country, man? Nobody wants to work. Yes, I'm alive. Anyway, now what was that about? What was American Beauty? It wanted you to believe, well, you know, if you're really going through something in life and, you know, you're depressed and blah, 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 and your wife's treating you like shit, it's understandable that you would look for some level of affection where you can, even if it's in a 17, 16-year-old child. No one was really mad at Kevin Spacey's character in that movie. I remember that. Right? They built it that way. And I think that's a page right out of Kinsey's book. Royale De Niro says, of course, the feed starts to go out. No, Royale was on the phone. You mean Bonnie gave Maxwell the list that she memorized and regurgitated the next day? I don't know, man. I don't know, Amber. No, they didn't either. Not yet. No, I was on the phone. I had a phone call. Anyway, y'all, let me get on in here, man. I got to get to work. I'll holler at y'all later, man. Y'all, listen. Let me tell y'all something. These elite class members, these elite class people, they're nasty. A lot of them. And if they're not nasty, they're friends with people that are nasty. They do business with people that are nasty. Even if they themselves are not nasty, they can turn a blind eye to it because they know there's something to gain from this relationship. Now, Trump, Queen Sister Shower, salute to you. Trump, listen, let me tell y'all something. I heard a story about Trump kicking Epstein out of a party because he was trying to get at a little child. But think about this. Even if Trump didn't participate in the behavior, let's say he didn't, right? Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. What are the odds that he didn't know what Epstein was up to? Don't forget to drop his link, Sister Shawa. I know. I had to do it, didn't I? Trump he may or may not have participated in the behaviors, but that doesn't mean he didn't know about the behavior. They all know. They all know. They all know what they do. P. Diddy, right? The things that he did, they couldn't prove he done it to children, from what I understand. But does that mean he didn't? Or does that mean that he doesn't know about people that did? They all know what they're all doing. It's their business to know. That's how they stay empowered. That's how they keep each other in check. It's checks and balances. See, y'all thought checks and balances meant the legislative branch and the judicial branch and the and the executive branch were separate and separation of powers. No. They all have the same agenda, but they have to present it to you as though they have checks and balances. But again, if they're not participating in the behavior, and they know the behavior is happening, does not mean that they're not just as evil as the people doing it. Like Kinsey. Kinsey may not have been doing it himself, but he facilitated the behavior himself to do his research because, well, for whatever reason, you know what I'm saying, he felt bad for the PDF file. So he wanted to find a way to make it okay for them to do what they were doing, even if Kinsey himself was not doing it. Just like you got these women out here, this psychiatrist chick that's running around telling people about minor addicted or minor attracted persons. You shouldn't call them PDF files. It's just a sexuality like anybody else's sexuality. She might not be a PDF file, but she believes or wants you to believe that it's a sexuality and that it's normal. And she wants to normalize it. She doesn't want you to call them she doesn't want you to treat them any kind of way. She wants you to treat them like a homosexual that likes like a man that likes grown ass men. But see, when you have homosexuality, you got a grown ass man trying to get it in with another grown ass man. They grown. They're going to do what they want to do, whatever consequences may come. But trying to conflate that with grown ass men and women wanting to get down with children, that's what they want for whatever reason, because they're sick in the head. They're sick. So, and that includes these teachers, these female teachers, getting busy with teenage boys and getting pregnant by them. That is just as outrageous. Even more so, because now they're producing a child out of this, and they're manipulating, and they're trying to use their femininity to make it okay. Just because a woman's doing it doesn't mean it's okay. No. And you might think, oh well, you might have grown men saying, well, you know, hey man, at least it was with a woman and blah blah blah. Wish my teacher did that with me. And yes, you might. I had a teacher when I was in middle school. Her name was Miss Brown. She was bad. You know what I'm saying? And if she wanted to get with me, I probably would have let her. Right? Because she was like 22 years old. She was dating a basketball player, Marcus something, from one of them famous basketball players. White girl. She was a white girl, but she was bad. White lady, 22 years old, dating a basketball player. She was a teacher. A teacher at Audubon Middle School in Los Angeles. And she was bad. And if she tried to get with your boy, I probably would have, you know what I'm saying, did the best I could with it. But, you know. But it wouldn't have been okay for her to do that. Even if at the time I would have let her. Anyway, let me get out of here, man. Get to work. You guys be safe out there. Keep an eye on your children. Make sure your children understand how the world works, because there will be people that try to take advantage of them. And yeah, you don't want that, right? You want your children to be okay. You want your children to be equipped. You want your children to be smart and aware. So I send you off with that message. I send you off with the message that these power-hungry elite class motherfuckers either know what they're doing with children,